Hi, welcome back. So good to see you again. Hope you enjoyed last week's story. It's the first of many that we've got here from Ella Riley Sweetshop. And today, the adventure begins. So, on with the story, the bank vault. It's a short walk from the sweet shop on Nolton Street down to the bank vault at the Bank of Bridgend. It's a majestic 3-storey building, really tall in Dunraven Courtyard. But not only is it 3 stories tall, it's also got 2 stories hidden underneath it. Now, the old bridge is where Bridgend gets its name from, of course. It's a beautiful stone old bridge with a hump back on it, 2 arches underneath, and it was built hundreds of years ago. Hundreds! Imagine that! So it's a very, very special place, but it's a very old place too. So Freya and Steve went down to the bank, walked down to the bank from Nolton Street, knowing that that's where Granny had told them all about the secrets that had been kept there for them to find out. With trepidation and excitement they made their way down. It was a beautiful sunny day, just like today. But when they got there, they got to the big double oak doors that were there. It's got a big turning handle like this, and it's a big ring, a metal ring. So they knocked. Knock! 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 Creaked open. And there stood a lady, all in her beautiful uniform. It was a lovely red skirt, red jacket, beautiful white top. She looked very smart. "Hello," she said. "My name's Anna." "Hello," said Freya and Stephen. "We're here to open one of the safety deposit boxes." "Have you got a key?" "Yes, we have," said Freya and Stephen. "No problem. Follow me," said Anna. And she led Freya and Steve into a rickety-looking old lift that was just behind the door. It had crisscrosses of metalwork all round it, and it was just like an old-fashioned cage that you might find in an old-fashioned hotel from the 1920s. And it looked as if it hadn't been used for over 100 years. Freya looked at Steve, and Steve looked at Freya. Both of them thought, here we go. This doesn't look very safe. I'm not even sure it's going to work. But Anna led them into the lift, and with a swift chunk, she closed the gates. And then she grabbed the handle that was on the side. Clink! Clink! She gave it 2 swift turns, and in the distance they could hear ding! Ding! As a bell rang somewhere to warn people below that they were coming. "Going down," said Anna, and with an unexpected speed that they had no idea was coming, they shot down, all the way down. Freya and Steve grabbed onto the sides of the elevator, scared stiff. Anna, however, weirdly stood there, as if she knew what was coming. It was all very odd. They shot down with a speed. Well, they got down to the bottom and boom! Boom, 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 boom. Their blow was cushioned on the bottom by a giant spring that was under the lift, and boom, 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 boom. They got thrown around like that, and they looked around, and Freya and Steve, and still Anna was just stood there as if nothing unusual had happened. It was unusual, to say the least. Freya and Steve looked at each other again, very nervous by this point, as you would be. I mean, have you ever been in a lift that goes ba-dum, at the bottom? I know I hadn't until then. Anyway, the smell started to hit them through the grills on the side of the lattice of the lift. It was a musty smell with an unexpected heat that came with it, and it was wafting down a long corridor. They opened the lift. Anna opened the lift, and with a clunk, 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 it opened again. They stepped stepped out onto an earthen soil corridor that was really long as the eye could see. And they started walking down, and it had that musty, old-fashioned smell. Sometimes you get it in books. I don't know if you've ever opened a really old book and had a smell. It smelled like old books. The heat was really intense. It was like when you get off an aeroplane in a hot country, and suddenly that heat, boom, hits you. I don't know if you've ever been on an aeroplane like that, but it's very unusual and unexpected within the ground. Who'd have thought? You'd have thought it would be cold down there. And they walked along the corridor, along the mudded floor that was all flattened over the years of wear. As they walked down the corridor, they could see big industrial style lights that lit the entire corridor in areas as they went down. And then there was doors that were marked each side with numbers, big wooden oak doors. They got to a door that was marked 2/6, 2/6. And Anna whipped out a big bunch of keys. We'd no idea where they came from. Freya and Steve looked at each other. They certainly hadn't seen any keys. She'd got the biggest, oldest key that was about this big, and it was huge. Rusty, had a great big end on it there. It was a circle with a circle cut out, and it was attached to the other keys. And it was a big long piece of metal along there, great big end to the key there. She slowly put it into the lock of the door. And she turned the key, and as she turned it, you could hear all manner of whirls and clicks going on the door. It was as if a million locks were being unlocked at once. And you could hear all of these clicks. It was a really bizarre door. I've never ever seen a door like that before. I'm sure you certainly haven't. But anyway, Anna opened the door, and it opened out into a massive room that was full of tiny little lockers like this size, each with its own little number on, all over the wall, all the way around. There was millions of them. And Anna said, "Okay, right, so do you have your key?" Freya said, "Yes, here it is." She pulled out her key, and there it was, with its tassels on the end. It was a metal key. "Oh, okay," said Anna strangely. It's that key, is it?" Freya and Steve looked at each other a bit puzzled. "Well, yes, it's our key. It's that key. We don't know anything more about it. It was just given to us in a letter." "Yes," said Anna very wisely, very knowingly. "It's that key. Follow me. Your vault is over here." And with that, Anna went to the bank of vaults that were on the wall, and suddenly they started to swirl and mist up. Cloud seemed to come from nowhere and covered the wall. It started to morph, and it was coming in and out, and you could see one or two of the little cabinets coming out, the lockers coming out with the numbers, and it was all swirled in the mist. There was a gentle humming noise. It was coming seemingly from the cloud itself. It was all very bizarre. And as she got closer, suddenly it was as if the clouds parted, and there was a wooden door there with a beautiful ornate mirror on it. Freya and Steve looked at each other aghast. They'd never seen anything like it. A door coming out of a wall that clearly wasn't there before. I mean, come on, this is getting ridiculous now. Never before had Stephen and I seen anything like this. Both completely puzzled. It was magic like we'd never seen, and I presume you too have never seen anything like this. Could you imagine if you went into your bedroom and suddenly one of the walls started moving and morphing, and there was a big cloud, and there was a door there to another place that clearly wasn't there before. You'd think you were going mad. Well, that's exactly what Freya and Steve thought. They thought they were going crackers. And of course, why would you not think that? It is incredible. It's unbelievable. Well, what they didn't know that magic was about to invade their life like they had never ever expected. That was only the first part of the magic. The door was there, and on it was a beautiful, beautiful ornate mirror with beautiful swirls on it. It was a beautiful burnished copper colour around the edges. It glinted and it caught the light, and it was very, very pretty. And as Freya slowly came up to approach the door, the mirror cleared and a face came into view, one that she recognised. It was Granny Ella! Freya couldn't believe it. Granny? Said Freya. She was very confused, was Freya, about this. Ah, said Granny. I see you found the bank vault then. Great, fantastic. Now, I need you to put your hand on the lock of the door. And at that moment, Freya looked down and noticed there was no door handle on this door. It was just a metal plate. It was there like that. And it had a keyhole there. But the keyhole was blocked up. It was very bizarre. So Freya tentatively, not quite sure what was going on, she just put her hand onto the plate. And at that moment, Granny Ella said, now, only you and Steve will be allowed in through this door. Anyone else who dares to try to break in here will turn to dust instantly. They'll be dead. They can't get in. It's protected by a magic spell. Freya looked at Steve, and Steve looked at Freya. It was all very, very peculiar. They couldn't believe what was going on. So Freya put her hand, as Granny said, onto the plate, because she trusted Granny Ella. And Granny Ella can be trusted. She always speaks the truth. And then at that moment, she heard the same whirring clicks, click, 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 whir, 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 click, 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 that she'd heard on the big wooden door before. Astonished, Freya looked quite aghast and looked at Steve, and Steve looked at Freya. They knew they had to trust Granny. And at that moment, the door opened all by itself as if by magic. And then there was a dark room. Suddenly, a great big ball of light seemed to hit the ceiling and light up the whole room. Freya and Steve tentatively walked in. They didn't know what to expect. When they got in there, they found a couple of pieces of furniture. There was a Welsh dresser, there was some shelving, and in the middle of the room was a great big old wooden table. It was carved out of great big planks of oak. And on that table was a huge book, massive. It was an old book, a bit like the old Bibles you find that have got the leather-bound bits on the front. They're great big books like that. And this book was bulging and it had a big clasp on it as well. When Freya went over, she looked at it. She looked at it very, very scared. I mean, you would be scared, wouldn't you? She looked at it, and on it said, "The Book of Secrets. Beware." At that moment, Freya knew her life, and that life that she and Stephen had shared before, was never going to be the same again. It was never going to be a simple sweet shop. Of course, it was just the start of the adventure. Thank you for watching our story again today. We hope you've enjoyed it. Of course, You can always find out more about our stories. Just simply subscribe. Don't forget, click the button and then you'll be kept up to date with all the new stories as they come out. We're hoping to bring one a week out, so hopefully this is the second one. There'll be another one next week. So be sure to tune in. Be sure to tell your friends as well, because I'm sure they'd love to hear all of our stories. The magic sweet shop in Nolton Street. And you can see over my shoulder here is a lovely picture that Sophie drew for me of our sweet shop. There's Sophie and her mum in the sweet shop, and all the jars behind her. So of course, if you want to draw a picture for us, feel free. Put the address where you can send it to down in the comments, and you can, of course, you can upload it as well. You can always send it to us via the internet, and we'll put it on all of our wall behind us so everyone can see it. But let your imagination run riot. I mean, if you want to draw a new chocolate bar, or you want to draw us a picture of the shop, or a book of secrets, or anything that you've heard in the story, just feel free, let your imagination run riot. But then we'll pop it up here, and you'll become like Sophie, famous. So thank you very much again. Of course, we're always here on the internet. You can buy from us as well. We've got our own website, which is www.ellarileysweets.com. You can order at any point during the day, night, whenever, and sweets are sent out to you directly. But thank you very much for listening. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye.